Hi everyone, how are you doing? How do I, oops, oh, hope you're all well this evening. Welcome, just trying to stop, here we go. Welcome to this Get the Gloss Masterclass with the lip doctor himself, Dr. Esho, and we'll be bringing him on really soon. Welcome, I am just spotlighting myself. Here we go. Hi, I'm Victoria Woodhall. I'm editorial director of Get the Gloss. Welcome. I can see some familiar faces here, masterclasses we've hosted before. If you're new, these are classes that we host almost every week. We're pausing for the summer now, but it's your chance to meet some of the top experts in the business. And tonight I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Esho. You'll know him from Netflix, The Body Fixers and BBC Morning Live, and his many clinics. I can see him there. Yeah, and he's unmuted himself. So without further ado, I'm going to bring him in, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the next 45 minutes will run, because I can see him there. Here we go. Here we go. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you in this heat wave?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you to everybody who's joined us this evening on this boiling hot day. I don't know about you, I've got my frozen hot water bottle here, keeping me cool. Esho, you're in your clinic. Where are you?
I am. I'm in our new flagship clinic in partnership with Flannels. So we paired up with them about a year ago. They approached me to build aesthetic clinics within their new flagship stores. And this is the first one we've built in their nice 7th floor flagship in Liverpool, which is a Barry's boot camp in there as well.
Yeah.
Barry's shake as well. So it's good.
Wow. Well, brilliant. So we're here to talk about everything to do with lips, and hopefully you will have all received your amazing goodie bag. I have to say thank you for such a generous goodie bag with every single one of your Dr. Esho Lip products in, and including the 2 new ones, which are so new. In fact, they're launching tomorrow, that I don't even have them, but you guys have received them. So let me know, put in the chat how you've been getting on with them. What are they, Esho? Can you just explain?
Yeah, so as you said, like, you guys got 2 of the new products that no one has got. They actually launch tomorrow on QVC, before then Feel Unique, and then after that on ASOS. So actually you got it before everyone else. I think you even got it before me. I had the prototype parts, but you guys got the actual final parts before me, because I was busy in clinic. And in terms of the products themselves, Esho is a dedicated lip cosmeceutical line. It's targeted, and we're having each treatment is a lip treatment rather than just a lip balm or lip serum. Each individual treatment is targeted to do a different thing for lips, but then the desire to be able to pick and play and layer together to customize for your own lip type. And that's the beauty of this. I'm a cosmetic doctor, been for the last 10 years, and I've not seen actually lip products that have been targeted in that way. Skincare, yes, but not for lip products. So I wanted a way where, knowing every lip was different, that I could create different serums or different balms, and everybody could pick and play and create their own products for themselves.
Yeah, brilliant. Zoe's saying products look amazing. I'm looking forward to trying them out. I have thin looking lips which get chapped and sore, especially in the winter. So yeah, brilliant. Keep putting your comments and questions in the chat. I will relay them as we go. There will be time for questions. Well, there may be time for questions at the end. We're aiming to be here for about 45 minutes. And if you miss any of it, we will send you the recording tomorrow. But I know, Esho, you were saying that the way you develop your products is very much with people's feedback in mind. It's a very kind of community generated, what do you call it? The lab.
I call it like the Esho Social Lab. And the reason behind that is because my clinic, my brand is very much a social first brand. You'll see me on social media, whether it's on TV or the media or my Instagram platforms. And I find that is the biggest source of creating anything, whether it's a show, whether it's a product. It's you, the consumers, or the patients, that tell us really what they want. And if we ignore that, then we're going to fail in terms of producing a good product. But if we listen to you, then we do. And actually, the reason why I started or created Esho wasn't just because I love and I'm obsessed with lips. I am, but that was a big part. But I had so many clients coming to me saying, one, there was always some part of a product that didn't quite suit them. But then also I had a number of people that were having treatments for lips that were scared to have injectables and wanted alternatives topically to try and cause or evoke different changes in the lip. So I knew there was a place to fill in the market.
Yeah, brilliant. And so any comments you have tonight, please put them in the chat, because they are all really valuable in delivering products that, you know, we as consumers really need. So please do give us your feedback as we go, and of course your questions. And Nikki's saying, yes, the product's so good, I can see visible improvements in hydration and appearance of my lips already. And that's great. You've probably only been using them like a week or so. And it's really great to hear that, you know, we don't have to go under the needle to get a visible improvement.
Definitely.
You know, do with skincare.
Yeah, definitely. When you're approaching anything, it should be a holistic approach. So that may include injectables. Sometimes it may include energy-based machines like lasers, but also the improvements in topical skincare and the actives that are available. There's a big hunger for plant-derived, botanical-derived strength actives out there, and there's so many. We've not even tapped the kind of surface of what we can do. So when I decided and first started going to this market, it was exciting for me, because, you know, having my lab, having the access to these, being able to pick and play like I do in my clinics, it was great, you know, to combine things and see what I could create. Yeah.
And you were telling me earlier that lips are kind of, before you entered the market, lip care was sort of almost an afterthought. Nobody was really treating it like the separate bit of skin than it is. You know, now we very much treat our scalp differently. We know it's skin, but not the same skin. You know, we look after our eyes, but lips, people, you know, slap a bit of Vaseline on and you're done.
Yeah, definitely. And to me, it was so surprising in a market area which shows so much growth that we weren't targeting this the way we were with our skin. But to be fair, initially with skin, if we think and we go back, most of the skincare products was a one-size-fits-all approach. And then now we've seen over the last years more and more targeted, more and more niche products to do specific things to the skin. And I think lips were falling behind that. It still wasn't that one-size-fits-all approach. There were some great products, don't get me wrong, but I think when you looked at a particular brand, if that product didn't suit you, that was the one option, and that was it. It wasn't you could go to a brand and see a full lip cosmeceutical line and be able to pick already between 6 products there on the line so far.
Yeah, and you're saying also that, you know, the lips are the thinnest skin after the skin underneath our eyes. And of course, they are the most vulnerable and perhaps need the most special attention.
Definitely. You know, our lips don't have our own sebaceous glands, so it can't produce their own oils. It's about 3, you know, layers thick compared to the skin, which is about 15. So it's very delicate and it needs to be carefully treated, particularly on this type of extremes of weather, extreme heat or extreme cold, particularly in those. It really can change in there because we're increasing what we call epidermal water loss. And when that happens, the area can become quite dry and desiccated. And then when we think about products to deliver into the area, you know, you've got 2 main types. You've got thick balms or occlusives, and you've got serums. And actually, if you look at many studies where it shows if you're just using pure occlusives, that can either dry out the lip because you're trapping the area. And when you wipe and remove the area, you've not got hydration deep down to the deep layers of the lips itself. We're just using pure serums on their own. When the heat evaporates that, it takes away moisture from the lips. So that can make it drier. So many people think, oh, when I'm using balms, I'm habitually using them, I'm constantly dry. It's actually when you use a combination between the two, so you're using a serum and an occlusive and you use it in layers, that you get the best balance of hydration in the lips. And that's why I wanted to produce these products, because then you could layer in that layering technique and get that, particularly with the different actives that you have there too.
So an occlusive is something that would create a barrier to stop the water getting out of the lips and also stop things getting in.
Exactly.
But so you're saying some occlusives would...
But the problem is, what that does is a temporary fix, because it sits on the surface. So it acts as a negative feedback. So it tells your lip, oh, I'm hydrated because it's protected on the top, but it's not getting into the deeper layer. So once you wipe that off, it tends to be that people find when the occlusive is gone, they feel dry again. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. People say that almost like when you overuse lip balm, why do my lips get drier? And that's the reason.
Exactly.
And Sammy is just asking in the chat, why do lips get dry and flaky, especially now in the hot weather when you're drinking more than normal? Does drinking dry them out? You know,
well, yeah. Well, you'd be surprised, but actually she's quite right. It's not the act of drinking, because drinking hydrates yourself, but having water on the surface, what tends to happen is then the warmth of the area of the mucosa evaporates that liquid, and that takes away heat. That's essentially what we do when we sweat. When we sweat, we produce liquid on the surface of our body to help regulate our temperature. Our heat on our surface evaporates that water and it reduces and calms the area down. So it does cool the area, but then we're losing water through insensible water loss. So needing a product that has one, a serum that can go to the deeper layers, but then also another one that can act as an occlusive to cover the top and protect and reduce. That's the perfect way of then maintaining a hydrated lip.
Oh, fascinating. So should we break down a lip care routine? Because obviously there are 6 products. We're not going to be putting 6 products on a day, are we?
No.
How
No, I think you don't need to use 6 products in a day. You may not even use all of them. But what I wanted to do was like a skincare regime. You know, we've seen it where people online put 20-step skincare regime and never have time to do that. But what you have is targeted parts depending on what your lip needs. Now, when we look at the products individually and I go through, I kind of say which individual one and when they're best used. And then we talk about then the specific lip types of how we can combine them in that way. So if we look at Drench, so Drench is a lightweight hydrator for the lips. It's a perfect primer for the lips itself. So this is great to use on its own, lightweight hydration, particularly in this heat where you don't want anything too heavy. It will go deep into the area. So you've seen it's easy absorbed. It's very soft on the area. And it acts as a perfect primer before lipstick as well. Because when people apply makeup, they forget then when they wipe it off, they away moisture from the lip. So adding something like this beforehand to kind of prime the lips, reduce the fine line and wrinkles and hydrate it gently, but leave no residue and no kind of shot glossy finish. It's perfect.
So this is your kind of, if you use one thing daily, would it be this? Do you think?
Yes, yeah. So for me, if you're someone that doesn't have dry lips, you know, so you have normal lips and you're just wanting a normal maintenance of hydration in your lips, Drench is perfect for you, man or female in that way.
And a good primer for lipstick. Can lipstick, I find that some lip products, they do dry out my lips, especially those the stainy ones that with alcohol in perhaps.
Yeah. So this is why it's perfect as a good primer. So many makeup artists now are using this when they're applying it to the patient. So they're using this before to prime the lips, and then they're applying the makeup on afterwards.
Yeah. So the lipstick not only sticks but doesn't dry your lips out.
Exactly that. Then we have Sculpt, which is a volumizer or a plumper by technical circumstance. Now, before this came out, the most traditional way to stimulate the lip to cause volume was to irritate it. So you would use cayenne pepper or any type of irritant to the lip that would cause it to sting, and then that causes vasodilation, and then that would cause the lips to swell. That one was temporary. 2, at the same time, could cause oversensitization to the lips over long term. So it's not what I wanted to go down. So I wanted to look at actives that I could pack and derive within it that could actually cause effect in the short, but also the long term too. So that's where we looked at things like linefil, which is derived from sesame seeds and is known clinically to have an effect on the fat cell size within the actual lips itself. We also looked at Volulip, which we know in itself has an effect on also the mucosa of the lip as well. And then we looked at a number of factors that will increase ceramide, so hydration in the lip too. So we know by building these factors, mucosa, fat, water, we're going to increase the size of the lips. Now, we have to be careful when we're talking about these things because obviously cosmeceuticals, we say cosmeceuticals don't affect change into areas because of the legalities, but we know that they do. You know, when you apply a product to an area and that area becomes red, it's because of vasodilation and the reaction. It's not because you put a pigment on that area. So these things are having physiological effects to the actual lip itself.
Yeah, and it's got actives in, and we know that actives work on other areas of our skin. So can you guess an immediate?
Yeah, so with Sculpt, it depends on how much volume loss you have. So this is a great product for 2 types of people. One where your lips want to gain volume, so it acts as a booster, and you can use this up to 1 to 3 times a day. Or you've lost volume, because we know we lose about 1% of collagen from our face from our mid-20s. So we know at that point, particularly the lip area as well as the area where we find starts to shrink. So using this topically in that area, that can help also to combat that too. So this is a great product for those that want to gain volume, but also those who felt they've lost volume to actually achieve those too.
Yeah. And would you use this like a couple of times a week or?
Yeah, so what I tend to say to you is 1 to 3 times a day is the maximum amount. and use it up to 6 to 8 weeks for maximum results. This is based on what we saw in clinic using these on patients. So some people had immediate results, but remember, we're not just talking about short, we're talking about long-term results too.
Okay.
Also at the same time, some patients didn't react quickly first time. So they were a bit impatient because they were thinking of that kind of old school irritant plumper that will just...
Yeah, or those machines that...
Exactly, but we didn't want that. We wanted something that was going to be great for the lip barrier long term, but then also evoke change too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's that.
Just a quick question from Zoe: does licking the lips make them drier?
Yes, it can, unfortunately, and it's for many two reasons. Again, it's about epidermal water loss. You're going to hear me talk a lot about EPW across here, and that's because there's so many studies when looking at that on mucosal tissue. And again, it's by when you're licking the lips, one, you're putting moisture on the lips, the warmth then evaporates that moisture, it takes away heat, it takes away moisture from the lips itself. But then also as well, when you're sucking the area, you're then reducing also fluid in that area too. So by those two mechanisms, you will be drying out that area. And it's quite a common thing. I see people who have dry lips or cracked lips. I will see that by nature, there's someone that's biting their lip or they're sucking or lips repetitively. One of the things that actually, yes, using topical products can help, but actually another thing is adopter cognitive behavioral therapy, because many times it's habit. And so many people end up going with hypnosis or CBT, and they can find ways to stop that habit from happening.
What would be, if you do have dry lips, what is your kind of SOS?
So my SOS
is cracky dry lips. What would
baby hair, okay? This is Esho code. I love this. So when we're talking about serums, so the ones we've talked about so far are serums. This is a balm, but this is a non-tacky balm, and it goes very far. You know, when you see the texture, it's like butter, and initially you think, oh, this is going to be a heavy product, but then you place it on, you go, great, this goes in easily. It's light, it's non-tacky, it leaves a lovely gloss to the lips, and it's amazing. It's based with squalene. That's what we went for rather than petroleum jelly, because I love that in terms of nonene for its healing factors, not just hydrating at the same time. And this is one of those instant moisture SOS. So if you're someone with really dry, cracked lips, you instantly put this on and you instantly feel satisfaction. You also can use it as a thick layer before going to bed at night to act as a mask. So when you wake up in the morning, that you have that deeper hydration too.
Yeah, I do. I use this at night. I really like it. It's you really do notice the difference. And squalene is this skin identical oil.
Yeah, it's derived from sugarcane, and it's amazing. And so what we try and do as well from an ethical standpoint is try and drive that sugarcane from Africa, and where I'm from, I'm Nigerian. And the main reason for that is because in many times, you know, the farmers are exploited for their sugarcane as a resource, unfortunately, and it's something that people are not aware of. So by driving, getting it directly from those places and not the places that they've been kind of exploited, it helps put money back in so they're able to farm more of the sugarcane crops too.
Wow. Incredible. Okay, so we've talked about these. We've still got.
We talked about Sculpt, Drench, and Coat, and so we have 3 more left. So one of the last hero products from the 4 that came out is Pause. So Pause is a great product because it has dual function. Pause by name, and what you'll notice by each of its names is what they do. So we've named them simply. So Sculpt lips, volume, Drench hydration, Coat to coat lips. So Pause is stopping. And that was to stop breakdown and loss of hyaluronic acid from the lips. And one of the reasons we got that is because it's got a known active called Wakimi plum algae. Now, in that particular algae, we know it's got enzymes that block hyaluronidase activity. Hyaluronidase is an enzyme that breaks down hyaluronic acid in our body. And we naturally
and it's something that you inject when you want to take out people's fillers, isn't it?
Exactly. So we inject synthetic hyaluronidase to break down hyaluronic acid. We know when we do that, we don't know if we're bringing out filler or our own, but we know we are producing HA constantly, so we recover from that. So what this does, but unfortunately, as we get older, that process slows down, so we are losing more. So this helps to try and hold that process from a topical aspect too. It also helps to hydrate the lip also. Now you would think, okay, where would this type of product then benefit? That's someone with an aging lip, so if they're losing volume, and then compare that up then with Sculpt to boost volume, pause loss, boost loss. But then at the same time, for people who have fillers, you know, we know now more and more patients have dermal fillers. And one of the biggest things for my patients that have dermal fillers is they want their lip fillers to last longer. And we know to try and do that, we want to hold the breakdown in the process. So using this topically can help for the longevity of your product too.
Oh, there's a question about the goodie bags. They have been sent out, but Daisy here from Esho
Oh, bless the Cara. Yeah, they have been sent out. They definitely have been. It might be the postie, depending on the heat, might have not got to you, or if it has, you might have been carded. But I know Daisy online there will be checking with everyone just to make sure you've got all your goodie bags too.
Yeah, they will be imminently. Yeah, so do let us know what you think when you finally do get to try it. You even I haven't got the 2 new ones yet.
Yeah, exactly. And I just about got the 2 new ones to talk to you about. So those are the final 2 out of them. And these are my new babies. I love these. And so when we look at these products, we talked about the first 4. So Sculpt, Drench, Pause and Coat. They can be used all times of the day. Okay. But then when you look at your skincare, you have kind of AM and PM, don't you? And when I looked in the range I've created so far, I thought, what is missing? You know, I want to complete a complete lip range, so I need to think of products that's missing. And one, I thought, well, we don't have an exfoliator. We talk a lot about resurfacing. We talk about a lot about resurfacing the skin before we put products on and helping as part of our aging. Why don't we have this in lips? So when I went to look at that area, I thought, well, again, there wasn't much innovation. The main thing was physical exfoliants like sugar scrubs, and that was in there. But the problem with that is, unless you're careful, you can end up irritating your lip because you don't know how aggressively you are scrubbing. Exactly. So I thought, right, I love acids. I use them in clinic all the time on the skin. How can I do this on the lip? With the lip, it's very difficult because 1, it's more sensitive, as we just said, 3 layers thick. And also it's where we ingest already. So it has to be safe. So if we accidentally digest it. So there's main acids, as you all know, guys, I know you all love your skin. You've got AHAs and BHAs, so alpha hydroxy acid, beta hydroxy acid. But there's another group a lot of people don't talk about, which is PHAs. So polyhydroxy acids really are ones which are larger molecules, and they tend to be much more gentle in exfoliation on the skin. And what's great about that is that then on the lip, where it's more sensitive, it's much more slower to break it down, but more sensitive, so suitable for that area, but also safe also to ingest too. So that's where we went and look at getting a PHA blended formula to be an exfoliate on the lips overnight and to hydrate the area too. And it's an amazing product. You know, I've been using it. You place it on the lip, you agitate it on the lip just so it goes across the whole lip surface. You only need a small amount, and you just feel instantly it's already denuded and eating away those dead skin cells. And it on its own leaves the lip lovely and soft for the morning after. Because it's an acid, again, you tend to use that at night, okay? So it's a night product. So it's one where, as you go, before you go to bed, I would say just wash and remove all product that you got on the lip, and then you would agitate the area and use it on it. Not on broken skin. If you have broken or open sore skin, do not add acids to the area. It's the same as you would on your face, because that would just lead to irritation and stuff. But it's a great product to use. And in terms of usage, I would say first off, starting off to use it 1 to 3 times a week. You don't need to use it more than that. But then if you're finding that's great, then you can reduce that down from there. Yeah. So all in all, as you know, it's a great toolkit. Is there an SPF coming next, maybe? Oh, yes, there is. Of course there will be. So one of the biggest things I got asked was, people were like, well, why don't they have SPF within them? And one of the biggest things for me as a physician is I talk about SPF all the time. You will see if you follow me on Facebook, I tweet, even today I tweet, people wear sunscreen. And the reason why I didn't put in the products is because I believe when sunscreen are in lighter or finer products, you underestimate, you think you're covered. The problem is you're not, because you probably wiped that surface, you wiped that area, you've done that. You're not getting enough of it. So you're not getting, you know, when we do these SPF tests in vivo, we are putting thick layers on. So this is why I've always been an advocate for separate SPF to your product. So I've been like skincare, then your SPF, not skincare with SPF in it.
Yes, I always use this. I mean, if I have my, you know, if my moisturiser's got SPF in, I'll always put
you always do it on top, because it's a finer moisturizer, so you're not coating it the same way you would do the SPF. So it's the same with this. I've encouraged people still, when they use this, then to put SPF on their lips, because, you know, as we were talking about tips earlier on, one of the biggest things is people put the SPF on, but they ignore their lips. And that area is delicate and needs it itself. But because I know people want a specific one, what I wanted to do was create one, which is in the works. There's a lot of things ready in my lab that would act on top as a layer itself, that would be a thicker product. So if you just wanted yourselves to carry something that was just specific for your lips, that you could layer on with these, it's going to be there for you.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, because they, you know, as we said, lips are vulnerable to, you know, sun damage and skin cancer. More than any other area. Is that?
And if you get damaged, then this is your bad boy now. Seal. So that's one of the new ones. So we talked about Renew, the exfoliator. Seal is your overnight sleeping hydrating mask. Because again, when I looked at all the range so far, I thought, I haven't done an overnight mask. And I didn't do what people probably would have seen, those cut out lip shapes that you put on top. The reason why I didn't do that was, again, causing by knowing, as a doctor and a chemist, and knowing that if you had something like that, the molecules are too large, you're just going to sit on the surface of the lip. It'll act as a superficial humectant, but you're not going to get anything happening deeper than that. So I knew I needed to create a serum that would act as an overnight mask and go deeper in the layers of the lip. So that's why we created Esho Seal. What Seal is, it acts as a smart mask. It's actually an oil and water hybrid emulsion. And what happens is when it comes into contact with the lips, the oil part of it moves to the surface, the water part stays in contact with the lips. Within the water, we have several actives. Then we have specific ones that target and work on boosting lip volume, but also it's got several thousand little hydrogen microspheres. And these spheres pass into the lip, but when they catch contact with water, they expand too. So they plump the lip as well and there too as well.
So clever. Now I'm never going to use Vaseline. Well, not like this.
Never. I can't wait for you to get these and try this, because I think like particularly people who love coat, they're gonna have Seal. Like I think they're like brothers and sisters, night and day sisters, and pairing.
In the meantime, until we get your dedicated lip SPF, what should we be putting on? Is it just whatever we're putting on?
Straight away, all your SPFs that you use on your skin are suitable to put on your lips. All of them are. They all are. So particularly for people, I would say for people of color, your one's got ones that cast. Try and avoid that, because casting will be worse on mucosal tissue. So you're probably going to go for more chemical screens rather than mineral screens. Our general SPF called Esho Shield actually is ready. It's ready. We had in the fro here Victoria, an influencer that you guys might know, and she used it and she loved it. It's a smart SPF. Again, with all the products I make, it has to be different from what's on the market. And our SPF, it's called Shield, but spelled SHEALD, and that gives you a clue. It heals and does something while screening at the same time. So we also had to make it so it has a dual effect.
Yeah, and so he's saying, do you have to make it taste nice as well? I guess if it's a dedicated.
Yeah. It's going to be harder. Obviously, there is almost no way. So, give an example with Renew. Like, I hope people do feel that it's good in taste, because it was so hard to disguise the taste of a PHA. Like, when you have a bland PHA, it was disgusting without that. And obviously, we wanted to make sure it was at a level that it wasn't overly sweet and disgusting, but then enough to make it tolerable. And I think we got there. We went through several different taste sessions to make sure we got that right. SPFs, unfortunately, haven't got that in it at the moment there, but the one that we've got coming for your lips, we figured
when it's coming?
Yeah?
When is it coming? Have you got?
I can't tell you that. I can't tell you everything. You've got everything so far. You got everything. So I will even tell you something one more that Daisy probably will kill me, who's sitting in for my comms team, is that there is another lip product coming out before even all of that, and it's a lip oil. And it does something very special, but I can't say what that is yet.
Oh, I love a lip oil. Also, just while everybody's on here, we do have a 20% off discount code exclusively for you. I think it's until, let me see, when does it last until? It's not long, because so days, till 27th of July. So we might not get it in time for the new launches, but if you love these products, then do stock up. We'll send you the code tomorrow on the email, but I can give it to you now. It's GTG20. Daisy, if you're there, maybe we can put it in the chat. GTG20, 20% off on your website, and we can put it in until 27th of July. And that's
Daisy will put the link to our website there for you guys. She's put the code up already. She'll put the link to Esho, which is www.esho.co.uk. Very simple. What's great about that is it doesn't just show the products, but it's got something called the Esho Lip Guide there. And it's got 10 typical lip types. You might not know what type you are by looking at that guide. You will, and it will see already pre-made regimes that are there for you to use. Now, obviously, you may pick and play and create your own regimes. This is why I wanted to create a product like this that people could go away. You know, you guys are smart, educated, informed. You will know what you like. But at the same time, for those that need a bit of guidance, there are the guides there that show you, and will show you from what to use on a dry lip, to use on an aging lip, to use on a normal lip type. So everything you will go down in that bit from there.
Brilliant. So we have Esho here for the next 15 minutes. Please do put your questions in the chat, not just about specific lip skincare, but anything else that you'd like to ask him about. I'd like to know, what are the kind of lip mistakes that you see? You obviously, you see people who come to you to have their lips fixed. What common mistakes?
I think the biggest thing I see, particularly when it comes to invasive treatments into lips, is people don't seem to ask what's been used. And I don't ever get that. You know, I always say, look, you will know the make of the designer bag you're about to spend how much on. You'll know the meal, what's in the food that you're supposed to buy at the restaurant that's going to spend how much on. So why not the product that's about to be injected into your body? You know, we need to ask those questions. We need to be sensible by that. And I've seen everything injected in the area, from water to cow fat to silicone, so much, you know, it's crazy out there. So I think, you know, if people are going for these treatments and they're doing it for the right reasons, then please make sure that it's under a medical practitioner and you've done your research, is with a medical facility or setting, and they are all set up and geared to help you just in case if things go wrong. Because unfortunately, these are medical procedures, and even though they're non-surgical, they're still medical and carry risks. Yeah,
but it doesn't have the regulation yet to make us as consumers, to protect us as consumers from being injected in a non-medical setting. It's different to Botox and you know, what they're called wrinkle relaxing.
Yeah, because they're restricted because they're prescription. Yeah, so prescription restricts them a bit more. Unfortunately, fillers, you know, they should be medical devices, so they should be more restrictive. Unfortunately, they're not currently. But hopefully, things are moving in the right way. You know, we just had, you know, regulation in terms of age, you know, to go through. So no one below the age of 18, that's been put through to try and protect younger adults. So I hope from that will add to things going forward.
Yeah. Sonia's saying, when is the lip oil out? Are you allowed to say?
Oh, I cannot tell you. All I can tell you is that I do have, like, you know what? My house, my missus will kill me, is like a lab. Like, there are so many lab samples across my bedroom of everywhere. And there's so many, the problem with me is my mind's going so constantly. And I know what I want to produce across the next 5 years, but I might add in things here or there. And so with the lab, we produce so many things. What I can tell you from an Esho point of view is that it doesn't just stop at lips. I do so much. And what we've done is we've decided to put everything in different categories. So what you're seeing right now is Esho the Lip Doctor range. You will see at some point next year, Esho the Face Doctor range. That's a clue to what's coming in there. You will see then Esho the Body Doctor range, another clue. And then finally, you will see Esho the Home Doctor range. And that may be relating to maybe devices, you know? So there's all of them.
Oh, no, I missed that. I talked.
Esho the Home Doctor range. So that might be related to devices. So there's a lot of things in there.
Oh, so exciting. Body care, yay. So there's a question about wrinkles around the lips, the barcode lines or smoker's lines, as they used to be called before.
This is going to be your best for that. So what is great is, so all of these products, we talked about using them on the lips, but actually some of my patients, I've said to them when they're suffering from perioral lines, use it a bit around the area. It's been neglected as well. These will work in the perioral region. So one, to treat perioral lines, you want to resurface the area. So you want a good exfoliant at the side from there. So renew out of the products that you've got. It's safe to use on the lips, but also to agitate around those fine lines and wrinkles overnight, as we said, up to 1 to 3 times a week. So that's great. When you're using then a hydrator on the area, use then Drench around this area, okay? Use lightweight hydrator, which will hydrate and work within the area too. when or you're using your Sculpt or volumize, you can also use it outside the lip. That's what's beautiful. This is not the irritant that's going to burn if it's not just in your lips. So it's not going to just add volume to that area. It's going to also help boost volume around there. If you're not looking at topical ways of treating it, laser is one of those options too. You know, typically people go for fillers and they don't realize perioral lines are caused by a number of factors: loss of volume, changes of the overlying skin itself as well. So to treat it, you have to treat those causes. So with topical skincare, as we talked about, but also maybe adjuvant things to help that treatment, like laser to resurface, and then maybe indicated at the time using a small amount of filler to add one if that's what you want to do. But in many ways, I've seen patients just from a topical perspective get the results itself or use a laser. So you don't need to just jump to the most invasive way. I think the best way is going to a clinical practitioner to have a consult and see what your options are.
Having said that, I mean, you've done the laser lip lift on me,
Yeah.
and I didn't find it invasive at all. It took like 5 minutes. It was no numbing cream. It was really gentle, a little bit of crackling. And I noticed an immediate result, which you explained was the kind of immediate slight kind of stimulation and injury. But over time, it's a
and I can't wait to get you back in for that. Actually, you just reminded me, Daisy, we need to do that. Unfortunately, obviously, my family things at the time happened, but I can't wait to get you back in for that.
Yeah, and somebody was asking me actually. She read that I'd had it, and she was saying, "Is it a good thing to do before your wedding?" And
the laser lip lift.
Laser lip lift, and if you've got a big event, sort of how.
So it depends how long close she's talking to. So it is great to use before your wedding in terms of having a slight improvement in the texture, slight improvement in the volume, but I wouldn't want it still too close because you still have to have some slight recovery. And also there's also always the risk something can go wrong. So I would always say, if we're saying it, the nearest I would have before a wedding or an event, I would say about 4 weeks, maximum, just in case. But otherwise, like you say, the downtime and everything is minimal, but we're just covering just in case you're one of those unfortunate.
Yeah, okay. I'll relay that. We've got some other great questions about treating your lips, about darker pigmented lips.
Yeah, 100%. So, that is a big common question I get asked. People say, pigmentation in lips, what's causing what? One of the big parts is SPF here, okay? So this is one where we're talking about how the lip is like 3 layers thick, it hasn't got sebaceous glands, so it's really prone to damage from the sun, from the environmental, amic carbons in that area. That can cause pigmentation, and also in worst cases, cancer. You can get cancer in the lip tissue. So also, if you've seen an abnormal dark area that is changing on there, don't just assume it's pigmentation. Do see a doctor, because in some cases that is forms of skin cancer that you can see on the area. So SPF is a big part. The other part for that is using something like Renew, so a resurface or a PHA, that's going to help resurface the area, but then also brighten the area too. So that's a big part to do that too. Maybe there's a product coming that's targeted specifically at pigmentation too. I cannot tell you all of that, but know that if this is a specific line that is dedicated to everything lips, that there's going to continue to be things in there until I've addressed everything to do with the lips itself.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. We also have a question from Nikki, which is a question I think I always ask. It's about having a long filtrum. So that's this bit here, and that's as you age, this bit gets longer because everything drops, doesn't
exactly.
it? Structure and fat, and so I'm a bit obsessed with watching newsreaders when you can only see their bottom teeth. Maybe because the news is the only thing I watch on TV, where people are sitting and talking. But as you age, this drops, as Nikki's saying, and looking at your top, being able to see your top teeth is a kind of sort of youthful smile. And
It is. I think, unfortunately, so the mechanism behind it, some people are born with, we are all different. Some people have longer filtrums than others, but with age, that distance lengthens. And the reason why is it's normally more curved when we're younger because we've got a fat pad behind here. We also have our bone in this area too. And what happens with age, the fat pad regresses, bone density reduces, so it goes backwards. And because of that, the length then increases, and also changes in laxity of the skin exacerbate that too. Once that happens, you get a longer filtrum area. And what, unfortunately, some people try to do is try to get so much filler to try and elevate the lip. Now, it can work to a limitation, but the problem is filler is 3-dimensional. So it can lift, but you're also going to get projection forward, downwards, in whichever 3-dimensional plane. So there'll be a limit And then people still keep trying to do it. And then all that happens is the lip projects forward without even lifting anymore. So when you see a practitioner that would advise you and see you, they would say filler can play a role in elevating, but there will be a limit. The last thing that's left after that is a bit more invasive, but still not as invasive as full surgery, is the lip lift, where people would have seen get an incision below the lip, the philtrum is shortened and lifted up, and that elevates and shows the lips again in that part. So having a combination between that is a great way. Exactly.
And is that something that you could do in clinic, or is that like a...
No, so that's something that I would say definitely should be in a surgical setting. It needs to be in an aseptic environment, and it needs to be done in a place where, you know, unfortunately things go wrong, that they can control that area. So I always recommend if someone's having a lip lift, that it should be within a surgical environment. I don't do lip lifts myself. I do have a good colleague called George Offiniatis, which again I can give after this, if this is something that was considering, who's an expert in that area and does many of those procedures. So if I see a patient really that I think, you know, you're beyond injectables, topicals, and it needs this type of intervention, I would recommend him in those cases.
And also, you also told me that you often refer to people to dentists if they want. How dentists can affect the structure.
Huge part. Huge part. I have recently, so I'm filming a show at the moment for W called Beauty Rewind Clinic, where it's a bit like a UK botched, and it'll be out in January on UK TV. And it's essentially where we're taking people who have gone too far or done too much, and we want to bring them back to natural selves. One of the contributors, I can tell you, is a girl who had clipping veneers. And because of that, those clipping veneers were kind of really big and pushing the lip forward. And obviously they eroded her current teeth. Now, when we took off those, it caused the lip to look longer and sunken in, because the teeth give a lot of structure to how your lips sit. So without the clipping veneers, that was an issue. So I sent her to a colleague of mine, Dr. Rona, who I work closely with as a cosmetic dentist and a cosmetic doctor. And many times where there's cases where we need to build structure based on the teeth, I will get her to do that, and I'll work alongside to build the lip. And then we have the perfect symmetry going forward.
So it's not necessarily, you can make the lips look plumper in all sorts of ways. Sonia's saying, lips that sag down the side, because as you get older, your mouth turns around.
Yes. Yeah, so that is a big thing, the turning upside down mouth, and many reasons for that happen. One is loss of volume within these areas too, but then also as well, the depressor muscles of the area overtake and they pull over, and one called the DAO is an actual muscle which is pull and overtakes and pulls down. So there's two ways to actually, from a kind of treatment way, to help that. One is using filler to revolumize, but then also to do something called myomodulation. That's when we inject filler in the area, and it has an effect on the muscle on how it has an action. So injecting it will reduce the volume, but also reduces the pull, which can turn that area up and reduce that upside down appearance. The other is actually using Botox in some cases, where we can inject the depressor muscle, which will release the tension of the pull, which happens through aging, and actually elevate the area. I prefer the filler part to do myomodulation because it's more predictable. I know when I'm injecting, I can see the improvement and see it done. With the Botox, I feel sometimes, depending on how that person uptakes it, it can be too much, and then you went left with someone with a Joker smile, and you don't want that. So, and then once that's there, it has to wear off. You know, it's not fillers. You can remove the filler if you don't like the result. You just have to see it out. So that's my preferred option when treating that.
Yeah, so many things that we can do just to make those little tweaks. But also, you've said to me beforehand that our lips are so, you know, they create such an impression. That's the second thing you look at after eyes.
Yeah, completely so. You know, it's such a central point. If we look at ourselves, and in studies, they look at what we look when we're looking at someone, all the focus becomes in this upside down triangle here. And the first things we look at directly are the eyes. The second things after that, the lip. Then we go back to the eyes. So, you know, in an area where there's so much focus on it, I can understand why people are so scared, because it's one thing you don't want to get wrong. And that's why from an injectable point of view, or even energy-based machines, people can be wary. And why I knew creating this product line was really important, because I wanted to then give those people to have a topical options of achieving similar results.
Yeah. Lynn is asking, I constantly have broken skin or cuts in the corners of my lips. Is there any way to deal with that and keep it?
Oh yeah, so it sounds like you've got something called angular stomitis. So angular stomitis is a chronic condition which can cause breaks in the lip. One of the biggest things that is important when you see a GP is to check your vitamins. So if you're insufficient in some vitamins, so iron deficient or B12, that can cause those reactions in the corner of the lips itself. But then also as well, fungal infections, low-grade fungal infections can stop that area from healing and cause that too. And if they see signs of that, they can give you topical antifungal with steroid to help heal that area too. But in terms about the products here, I did actually have a colleague of mine recently who was suffering really bad from that. And I gave him Esho Coat. He used Esho Coat all the time, 3 times a day around the lips, but actually putting a thick layer in that area, and that healed it for him. Seal wasn't out during that time. So if you're someone that's obviously on this talk, you've got that, and this is what you're suffering from. At the moment, I would leave the rest of the products away, because what you don't want to do is overstimulate with too much actives if you've got broken skin. That will irritate the area. So I'd probably just use just coat in the day up to 3 times, and before bed at night, you seal all over the lips between, and especially a thick layer in there, and then you're really going to get that healing process in that area. And I wouldn't be surprised after a few weeks if that wasn't there anymore for you.
Brilliant, brilliant, thank you. Just going back to the question about the long filter, only because I'm obsessed, but I realised there was a second part of that question. Yeah. What can you do if you obviously don't want this surgical lip lift?
Yes.
You don't want to have your teeth built up from the inside. Is there any way you can
to lift it even more? So
emulate what a lip lift
would do? So filler will do to an extent. One other option to do is threads. So PDO threads. So for those that don't know, that's a synthetic material that acts a bit like a stitch, where we place it in the lips or any part of the face, and we can lift up. So you would have probably seen these things. They tend to last in the body anywhere between about a year to 18 months, and they can help cause a tightening of tissue. Now, in this particular area, you can use threads to kind of help give a lift in that area, and it will be temporary, but it is quite sensitive, okay?
Really
so it can be quite painful. Yeah. And also because the skin here, particularly if you've got a longer filter, can be particularly thin, you have to be careful to bury it at the right level for 2 reasons. One, you don't want it to be visible, and also you don't want it to affect your movement and how you talk and smile. So that is another option you can use for that.
Yeah, but I think when I asked you about it, I did experience with the laser lip lift. I definitely noticed some plumping here, and just
definitely. So anything that increases volume will do that. So from a point for the laser lip lift, definitely you will find you will get that. And with topical products that and from Sculpt here, you will find you get that as well. With fillers, you will find you get that too. But then when we're not talking about volume, when we're talking about physical lifting of the material or the tissue, then really that's a structural thing where that's either surgery for a lip lift or from a non-surgical thread in that instance too.
I actually had, so Dr. Esho, another TV dentist.
Oh yes, yeah, I know her. Yeah, she's lovely.
Of course, I'm sure you're big pals. But what she, because I was moaning to her about my long filter, and she put like a couple of millimeters of bonding, so like just like what's it called, like a filling material on the bottom of these teeth, which not only protected the slight chips. She said what it does. So Nikki, in answer to your question, is it makes your bottom teeth poke out of your bottom lip a bit more, so it gives you this kind of illusion of having the kind of, when your lips sat high, you'd see more of your teeth.
To give you some of that complete.
It's a bit of optical illusion you can do, and that's quite a cheap and non-invasive procedure, and it's actually
definitely cosmetic bonding is very common. I had that initially before my Invisalign, and I had it not for those reasons, but it was more just to kind of get a more natural shape. And as you say, it's like it's a composite material that's placed around your teeth. It's non-invasive in a way. There's no destruction to your natural teeth like veneers, so that's very good. They last anything from about a year onwards, but they can stain over time, so you can.
I've had mine for like 5 years, and this
amazing. There you go.
No problems. So
taking great care of those, and they can really help with that. And again, also as we said with teeth, when they are sitting in a certain direction, they help the lips sit in a certain way. So it won't just help show more of the teeth, but it'll help the lips sit in a certain way.
Check them out a bit. And another trick I picked up from a makeup artist is obviously when you've got really good condition of your lips, which we're doing with skincare, your makeup's going to sit better. And if you can do a very slight line just outside the lip line, so it's barely noticeable, and then a light which will increase the size of your top lip, so you can do kind of more smoke and mirrors, and then use a lighter shade of lipstick on the inside, so it creates the the illusion of volume. And your products also create the kind of gloss, the kind of, you know, light reflection. That's what people, the light.
Oh, I was literally going to say that, because I'm exactly going to jump on that and say it is light reflection. People don't realize that the lip is duller and it's got a lot of dead skin. It appears smaller because it's not rebounding and reflecting light. So that's where something like Renew comes in. If you're not having makeup on your lips, but you want to create that illusion that the lip is bigger, if using Renew is great because it removes the dead skin cells. It makes the lip a lot smoother. It reflects that light. So the lips already, before even using any of the other products, will appear bigger.
So it's that glow that we want for the rest of our skin. The other trick she told me is if you put a little bit, you probably all know this, the highlighter on the Cupid's bow, again, it makes your lips look bigger. And then if you put a tiny bit of bronzer just under here, it creates a shadow, which looks like your lip is projecting forward. So there's
very smart. Because that's very smart, because that comes along with a lot of my injection techniques. I've got my own injection technique. And one of the biggest things I focus on is those two areas. So I focus on defining that Cupid's bow, but I also focus on thickening that middle part of the lip so it drops a bit further down. And exactly that's what she's mimicking with the makeup to achieve, to make them look bigger.
Yeah, very clever. I mean, there's so, you know, when you really focus on the lips, there's so much education and so much we can do without necessarily having fillers, but also good to know that if you do want fillers, there are some, you know, with your skills and the technique that you've developed, it's a, remind me what it's called, the something point.
And the Nano Droplet technique. So if there's any doctors or medical people on there, it's something I teach on the Allergan AMI teaching resource that you can log on there, and you can see that specific technique and how it's done. But for non-medics in that terms, essentially it's a way of using micro droplets of filler in specific areas to cause certain shapes in the lips.
Yeah, so you can actually create, you can correct asymmetry and do
definitely.
So yeah. Well, wow, thank you. Has anyone got any more questions? Last chance while we've got Esho here with us, live from Liverpool.
What does that say there? Dr. Esho is teasing us at this point. We'll just move to your clinic.
Yeah, exactly. It looks nice and cool in there anyway.
Yeah, no, it is really good. It's really good. We're going to be building more of these as well. So
yeah,
we just got to decide where.
So we'll be able to see you all. So you're going to be building more Esho clinics, are you?
Yeah. So right now we have one in London and Wimbledon, which you've been to, and one in Newcastle, one now in Liverpool, and the other in Dubai. But after this, there's definitely going to be another one next year as well. I haven't said where because I can't say that yet. It's going to be a big surprise, but there'll be another one next year, definitely.
Yeah. Brilliant. I mean, you know, you're a specialist in so many things. We've only really dealt with lips, but you know, you also have a passion for lasers, so that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
And you know so much about the architecture of the face, the structure of the skin. It's been really, really fascinating to have you here. Let me just see. Birmingham, please. There we go.
Okay. We'll put that on the kind of thing, the map. We'll put that on the map to see from there.
Oh, I do have one more question that I wanted to ask. So we all use lots of actives on our skin.
Yes.
Should we talked about what we should put on our skin, but should we keep things like retinol and vitamin C away from our lips, or?
Yeah, so you're right. So when we're looking at a lot of skincare, the skincare has been designed to use on the face and not to ingest, so not on the mucosal tissue. And you will see the warnings where it says don't ingest or put around the lips. So a lot of the times there are warnings. Unfortunately, sometimes they're not. So particularly when we are doing our regime, this is why I created this brand. So you do have a lip care system to use, or a skincare for your lips. This is what this is. So essentially now when you are doing your normal skin regime, that is just for your face, you have now one that is dedicated for your lips to use alongside too.
Yeah, so skincare that's good enough to eat, really.
Yes, exactly.
It's not.
That's a great. I'm going to steal that. I am going to steal that.
You'll have my invoice shortly. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's got to be, doesn't it, by regulation? If you,
this is it.
So you know, we know it's really, you know, it's really safe, and it really is going to do what he says. I'm stealing that too. Have it. Well, thank you so much. Can't wait to get my hands on those 2 new products.
I can't wait for you to get your feedback as well, because I respect you very much, and I'm excited to get you. And for everyone here, please do give us feedback. Please do let me know. I'm always listening, even if it doesn't look like I've read your DM. I probably have. There's just several hundred.
Instagram is the best place to contact you and leave feedback.
Yeah, I think on social media, if you DM me and you let me know, I constantly go through that at a point and look and see. The website does also have emails too on the info@eshoclinic.co.uk, sending info like that, because it's great for us, because again, this brand has been built on top of all of you guys. And without you, we wouldn't be producing these products. So if there's things you're thinking of, and you've heard the different categories we're doing, from lip to face to body to home devices, let us know, and you might never know, we might grant your wish.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for giving up your evening to participate and for your brilliant questions. It's always so nice when it's so interactive and we really hear what matters to you. And thank you, Esho, for answering so fully and spending time with us this evening.
Absolute pleasure.
We'll get the follow-up email tomorrow. We'll remind you of the discount code, 20% off tomorrow in the email as well, so look out for that. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Have a great evening. Thank you. Bye, Zoe. Bye, Nikki. Bye, Sonia.